Eventually, one day, the billionaire gave you 1 million rand to start a business.
Well, that was just 1 million. But in the other 4 years, he gave me about 500,000. So he consistently funded this project. So
he gave you 1 million
in total,
to start?
probably like about 3 million or so that is invested in the project. So yeah.
Wow.
I think I have a problem with Black people in general. The way that we carry ourselves, the way that we treat each other, the way that we are so not futuristic. Black people live mostly for today. You know, and that same person going to speak badly about you. Do you know how much that hurts? You know? It's not because I expect you to speak highly of me, but just don't say anything. You know? Don't participate when people are trashing me when you know what I've done for you. You know? So, that hurts. People are very gullible and they believe what they see. I'm in the entertainment space. I don't know how many times I've been asked to try DJing in order to make more money. And I'm like, not me, you know, because that's not me, you know. It's not who I am. But the one thing I can't ever get an answer on is why do people who drink alcohol want to drink Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Or if I'm drinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I must drink until I can't remember my name.
Shout out to Imashu.
Kwamashu. Aiki Imashu. Kwamashu.
Kwamashu.
Yes.
Shout out.
I think the only reason it hurts me now is because I realize that people at the end of the day, like people are ungrateful. You know, you can go out of your way and do things for people. People will still find a way to make you a bad person. You know, they'll still find a way to say, and I think this really hurts me. I think that's the one thing that emotionally affects me, you know, because, okay, sorry, I need to calm down.
All right. Welcome to the It's More Than Just Money channel, where we dive into conversation with industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers that are making a difference in terms of the South African business and investment landscape. My name is Witness Mdaka. I'm your host. I almost said I'm in Johannesburg. I am in Durban, KZN, at the City Lodge Hotel, and I'm having a conversation with Jacinta Ngobese. The other name is Zintle.
Yes, but you said my name correct. That's good.
How I said it?
Oh, you said it correct.
Jacinta.
Yeah, people call me Jessica all the time.
They call you Jessica?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have called you Jessica. Because I practice every time I meet someone or every time I have to have a conversation with someone, I practice their name.
Yeah.
And before we even started, you and we got carried away and went into a conversation on branding. And I think it's part of the reason why I'd asked you. You said there's a very successful businessman that invested 1 million into your project.
Yeah.
And I got intrigued to say, what is it that you had built in terms of your value to get to the level where you are able to ask someone for a certain amount of money and they invest in it? Because I don't think people understand the kind of value that one has to have in and of it themselves for somebody to see it fit to invest in them.
Yeah.
On your part, what do you think you had done in terms of building yourself up to reach that point?
I think, first of all, it's giving, just using rather the space that I'm in a responsible way, because I don't think anyone can believe in someone who's using a platform. If I had been, for example, dressing half skimpy, twerking, all of these things, I don't think he would have seen me in that light, your muntu that they can actually give money to, or someone that they can believe can pull off something. So it's really about I don't like using the word presentation because it feels so prepared, you know? I feel like if you're in business, a business should just be you. It should be a passion thing. You should live it. You don't have to prepare yourself in a certain way because whatever you do naturally comes natural, you know? So if I say it's the presentation of myself, then I make it sound like it's something that I had created an image of. And that's not true. It's the person that I was and I am.
Does it speak to what? Character or what?
Character, definitely, and passion more than anything, because I believe that most of everything that I've done and where I am is things that I am truly passionate about. And that's why you won't see me even try and do things that I know are not for me. Like, I'm in the entertainment space. I don't know how many times I've been asked to try DJing in order to make more money. And I'm like, not me, you know, because that's not me, you know. It's not who I am. I like something different.
So with character, right? One has a character, and then we have a reputation that we want to uphold or that we want to present. And we have something called an image, where we even hire publicists, or we hire an image consultant to make us look a certain way. And you said that you were consistent with who you were as a person, which spoke to character. Absolutely. Now, a lot of people nowadays focus more on the outward, which would be the reputation and the image. And we forget that character cannot be unworn. It's who you are. What would you say was your integration in terms of the three? I mean, I guess when you have a good character, a reputation that matches the character, as well as an image that matches the character, then you have what we call integrity, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say for you was the way in which you integrated those three?
I think in the media space, that's a difficult one.
Because image matters in the media space.
It does, because people are very gullible and they believe what they see. And that's important if you're in media, to feed into whatever image you want to create for them. The only problem, though, is that doesn't last long. Because if you're not being true to yourself, eventually your character will show, because you can't hide character. So for me, luckily for me, I've got a character that is who I am, and it's not something that I'm shy about. I mean, I don't have to pretend to not drink or smoke, or because I don't do all of those things anyways. I don't go clubbing. I'm just generally a very straightforward person.
You never tasted alcohol, or you?
I did taste alcohol. But I think the biggest thing for me about alcohol is, one, I never understood what exactly is the taste. Like, people say, umnand. And I think that's why I drank, because I was expecting like fireworks, like, you know. And then when I drank, it was like, what is this? You know, it didn't make sense. Second thing about it was the fact that when I got drunk, I kind of expected a what next type of moment, you know?
After that,
yes. Yeah. So now I'm drunk, and then what? Like, do I go home and sleep? Do I throw my hands in the air? Like, what is there to do? Because, I mean, I can do everything that I do when I'm drunk, when I'm sober. You know, I can dance, I can laugh, I can hang out with people, I can enjoy the mood. I didn't understand what was the end goal. And I've never gotten the end goal of alcohol till today.
Yeah. So you've then said that you've done a lot of programs.
Yeah.
I mean, which I think would have been an extension of who you were as a person and what you had wanted to see in the communities where you did these programs in, right? And you specifically said that some of the places where you've done these programs, it wasn't alcohol based.
Yeah.
You know, was that an intentional thing that said, I can see what the effect of alcohol is? more specifically in the Black community, in the squatter camps, or in the areas where we come from. I don't want to exacerbate that. Though I'm in entertainment, because entertainment is about alcohol.
Right, and there's so much free alcohol.
And there's more money in the alcohol space than there is in most places.
I think I got conscious about it where I'm thinking about community later in life.
Okay.
The decision I made was just for me, in the fact that I didn't understand. And that's why I don't judge people who drink alcohol. I hang out with them. I love them, family, friends. A lot of people drink alcohol. The only thing that I find to be detrimental about alcohol is that people don't know the limit when it comes to alcohol. People don't know, okay, I'm drunk. They don't want to be drunk, right? They want to drink until they can't walk, which I don't understand. What is the satisfaction of me being so drunk that I'm sleeping on the floor and people are laughing at me or whatever, I get Slampe wanting to just get out, just relax, just a little bit. I get that. But the one thing I can't ever get an answer on is why do people who drink alcohol want to drink Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Or if I'm drinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I must drink until I can't remember my name, Then it doesn't speak to alcohol. It speaks of a bigger problem.
Yeah.
It speaks of people running away from whatever issues that they have. It speaks of people finding an escape. It speaks of people who don't want to face reality. And that's why we've heard, I was watching a clip of General Mkwanazi saying that the biggest problems that they have in our community, 80% of them are probably caused by alcohol. So can you imagine if alcohol is causing so many problems? But he said also, which I found very interesting, he said that during COVID, when they had a lockdown, lots of politicians, MECs, prominent people were calling him and complaining that they need to make sure that they bring back alcohol because SAP is suffering. And he says, I don't understand why was every politician calling me about SAP. What is the big deal about this alcohol brand and company that makes everyone call me to say alcohol must come back? So it speaks of a bigger picture. And that bigger picture will always take me back to the fact that I speak of my community, Black people, with absolute pride. But I worry that we spend so much time on things like alcohol that it detracts our focus from everything else. How many families have been broken because of alcohol? Who stands to benefit from Black communities killing each other? Black communities having families broken apart, having Black children not prosper in life and their potential ruined. You'll tell me.
So you come from the same communities, right? And more specifically, you said you're from KwaMashu. Shout out to Imashu.
KwaMashu. Aiki Imashu. KwaMashu. Yes.
Shout out.
Imashu sounds like, I don't know.
We are in La Pemashu.
You don't take away the
KwaMashu.
Yes.
Shout out KwaMashu.
It's not
so tell me, you've been able to become an award-winning radio host. Multi-award-winning radio host, right? It's very important. You work for it. You've been able to become an multi-award-winning radio host. You've got a successful events business.
Yeah.
You wear a couple of hats. You're a great MC. Having come from that environment, how were you able to build yourself into this person? I always say to young people that all of us are building something. We're only going to see after a couple of years what exactly the person has been building, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Did you know what you were building and were you intentional about it? or did you stumble into this person that you are?
I don't believe in coincidence in my life in general, but I do want to give credit not to myself but to my grandmother and my family. Too much.
Okay.
So I grew up in a very strict home, which I think I've come to appreciate now. At the time, most what you think would, I kaya abana vibe get better. You wish your friend's house, la benza kona matanda was your home as well.
Yeah.
Until you grow up and realize with no man, because I think my granny was a nurse, and everyone at home, every single one of my granny and grandpa's children has a degree. Every single one of them. And as I mentioned, I had spoken to you earlier and I said I dropped out of university. But
why did you drop out of university?
Because I fell in love with radio. But I did go back and I did complete my degree, by the way.
What's the degree? Economics?
No, I dropped economics and did supply chain.
You dropped economics? Yeah, sure, I have economics.
Yo. I couldn't stand those graphs. My goodness. You have to predict what's going to be happening in the future. I would see how is if Hitler announces today that so-and-so is going to war, how is that going to affect the price? But I loved it. I mean, I love it because I feel like I learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
But I think for me, going back to university was the thing that just reminded me of who I am, the kind of home that I'm from. And it's one of the proudest moments of my life because I went back when the time was difficult, singing Mdaka and Konama 2009, and I was so confused. Yo. Do you know how difficult that is? It's very difficult. But I held my head up and I did it and I finished my degree. And I'm forever proud of that. But that wasn't the question. The question was the environment and how it shaped me to being the person that I am. Like I said when I spoke, choices. We all have choices in life, right? There's a choice that our parents will make in the way that they raise us as children. But then there'll also be choices that I make as a child. We would say, which road do I take? Do I take the road Yabangani or do I take the road that my parents have laid out for me? And luckily for me, when I went to high school, I moved from Durban to Johannesburg.
But you were staying with your grandmother?
Yes, I was staying with my grandma.
Your
Then in high school, my mom was in Joburg.
Oh, I see.
My dad was in Cape Town. So when I moved to live with my mom in high school, I was in Johannesburg. I think that is where I got shaped a lot. The school that I went to, unfortunately. So I became so passionate about competing and doing well and excelling in everything that I do that it became who I was. I met friends who were the same. My friends were top achievers. We competed to being top 10. And I think that kind of crowd or that kind of environment did shape me a lot because we wanted to do everything in school. We wanted to run the tuck shop. We wanted to be head girl's deputy, competed. Okay, you head girl. Okay, you SRC, I'm going to be as well. So I think that really shaped me because it gave me a direction of the type of person that I want to be. And I wanted to be a winner.
So when the time came, because you went to Joburg for high school, right? And then you came back, you wanted to study law.
Yes.
UKZN.
I got accepted for law.
You got accepted?
Yes, I did. I applied for law.
Yes.
I was accepted for law at UKZN Howard. But I was also accepted to study economics and supply chain at UKZN. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I'd been granted a bursary for supply chain and economics and not for law. And that was what determined the decision.
A default, yes.
Yeah.
So then you went for economics by default.
Yes.
And then is that the time where you discovered radio and eventually made it into Kakas?
Yes. So the year I was accepted into UKZN is the year that they were starting UKZN radio. And then my friends and I went for an audition because it was just a joke. But they joked about it and I was serious. Like I was dead serious about it. I made it on time for my show. I was always preparing for my show. Like,
were you getting paid?
Of course not.
2.5.
No way, nah. Silly as witness. Do you want me to explain that? Anyway, that's now.
You can.
But it's because now people walk around feeling sorry for us. Like we earned 2,000, man. That's not true though.
But
like,
here's how I understand it, right? When I look at you guys.
Yes.
Or any platform
yes.
where they say somebody is not being paid.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys gain so much influence that it doesn't even matter how much you get paid.
It's that, and also the fact that as radio people, our contracts are renewed every year. Okay. So radio is draining. It's not as glitzy as it looks. It's very draining. You go and you have to listen to yourself and they tell you, oh, you did this wrong. You weren't supposed to say that. You missed an advert here. The client is unhappy. It's a lot, you know. You have to stick to the time, to the T. Radio is about time, everything. So at the end of the radio, well, let's say every week, I think every single radio person has to go through a Snoop session every week. This is where they critique you, blah, 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 correct this, the link was too long. I mean, you even get told, you're talking too much, talk less. Okay, your topic is, you know, it's like I said, it's a headache. It's not as glitzy as people think. So there's something called RAMs. Now, RAMs are the numbers that you're giving to the radio station. Right?
The numbers isn't the number of people watching.
Listening, yes.
And stuff. Yes.
So they always come out every 3 months, yeah? And they will tell you exactly how many people are listening, how much time they spend listening to you. Is it men? Is it women? Do they like your show? Blah, 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 blah. Are you growing? Are you not growing? So the radio will always use that as a measure of how well you're doing.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So I can have 400,000 followers on my social media, but I have to translate those to listeners.
Are people actually tuning in to listen?
And not
to
only
you?
that, even if they say maybe they don't listen, but clients are pumping money into my show because they think it's the show that has numbers or whatever, you know, then you have by all means a right to demand. Listen, I can't be giving you client. It's a negotiation, because when they come, they're like, okay, we're going to give Jacinta 10,000 for these 3 hours. Mind you, we only work for 3 hours in a day.
Yes.
Right? So 3 hours, you negotiate your worth, if I can call it that. So if you've got grounds to stand on, nobody can tell you that they're going to pay you a little bit of money because you know what you're bringing to the table.
It's quite interesting. But you know, when you look at a lot of young people starting out in their careers or their business, they always, because of hunger, negotiate themselves down or take whatever offer that's on the table. For you, was there someone who was mentoring you to be able to say, ungalambika khulu phela?
No.
Don't just take anything.
I think for me, it was never even about that. Even if they said we'll give you 10,000, because every time I negotiate, I tell them, okay, I'll take this, but if I give you this, then you give me that.
Oh, yeah. I see. What? You offer something?
No, they offer you if they offer. For example, the time that I was on Kakasi, right? Even if they said 4,000, I would have taken it because I'm still new. I've got no grounds to negotiate because I haven't translated their numbers into anything. Now, if I come and I give them these numbers and they're happy, then they've got no reason to come back and offer me that same amount because I can always argue that I'm worth more. And if I'm not happy with their offer, I can always say, guys, thank you. Bye. You know what I mean? Because...
But how does one say bye when they don't have anything else?
You can.
And this speaks to not only radio.
Yeah.
Right? It translates into every other industry.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I was working, right? I used to work for a youth marketing company, promoted a couple of times, then I quit. But I realized that the reason why I was taking risks, I had backrooms money. I wasn't scared of being fired.
Yes.
right? So had I been fired, it was going to be, oh, okay, bye. I've got something to fall back on. I'll get another job, right? But at the same time, I had colleagues where they had nothing to fall back on. Maybe he's got a polo that he's paying, or he's got an apartment where he's living. He can't argue back. Even if something is wrong, most of the time they can't really argue back, or they can't take risks. And I know it's a reality for a lot of people where they can't just say, I'm leaving this job, I'm going somewhere else.
Okay, so remember I told you that the thing with negotiation is you need to know your own worth, right?
On the negotiation table. Yeah.
Because I'm not going to go to Umqashi and say, I'm not going to take this amount because I'm worth this amount. And you know you're not worth that amount. They're simply going to say, go. Because I know if I was to say, okay, if you're not going to give me this, I'm leaving, there'll be someone else knocking at my door.
Because you've built up the value already.
Exactly. So I'm saying, unless you know you've built up that value, you also don't have legs to stand on to say, I want this, and if you don't give me, I'll leave. You don't. And that takes time. It might not happen overnight. It might take time, because the one thing that I always say is that personally for myself, I don't go to work and say, hey, I'm here. Now I'm going to give you an amazing show because I'm so amazing. You know what I mean? The show must speak for itself. When someone is listening to the show, they must know, okay, if I talk about Vuma FM right now, the name that will pop up in my head is Jacinta. That's how you build, that's how you build a name. And that wasn't the case for me a couple of years ago when I got to Vuma. I wasn't the top of mind type of presenter. But because I worked my way to getting there, I can now negotiate whatever I feel will make me comfortable. And if I'm not happy, I know I have other offers.
Right. So you talked about building value.
Yes.
Right? And when we started talking earlier on, we also talked about social media and how people can use it to build value. The other day I was talking to Shepard and I said to him, oh, you're famous in KZN. And he says to me, but you're famous too. And I said, I don't think I'm famous, right? And then I said to him, in any case, when you look at what social media is nowadays, technically everybody is
famous. True.
Like if you really think about it, Wonkumuntu famous.
True.
Right?
We're all reality stars.
One way or another, there's somebody that's trending somewhere.
True.
And then I said, but you know what makes the difference? It's when you've taken that and translated it into some sort of value. So it's not just people seeing you on the screen for nothing.
True.
There's something of value that you're doing that's building people's lives. How would you take that and unpack it for somebody to understand?
I call it relevance.
Relevance?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I call it. The fact that there's something happening in the world and you know about it, how do I remain relevant? Something amazing like the World Cup, for example, happening, and I am not relevant kule World Cup. And by relevance, you choose, by the way. I'm more than content mangathiwa khona iklab evulwayo or khona umgroove khona and I'm not there. I'm more than happy.
Do you feel that raises your value as well?
No. I determine my own value. I can't, for example, Utira can't not be there.
He has to be there.
You know what I mean?
So what I'm asking is, you're not being there.
Yes.
Do you feel it raises? Because I feel that if everybody's going to be somewhere, I don't have to be there.
No, I feel that it's not about me not being there. It's about where I am. Is it the right place? Is it with the right people? Is it going to be beneficial to me?
Correct.
If I'm going to be invited at an Oceans Mall and they have a fashion show and there's all these people that are going to be there, I'm at the right place.
You must be there.
With the right people. I must be there. I must get an invite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, I must be there.
Also, when I jive,
that's me.
Yes.
Not relevant jive. Yeah, you sure?
Yeah, they'll make money.
Yes, they'll make money from it. Exactly. So our relevance is not determined by other people. It's determined by you, the choices that you make and the value attached to yourself and where you want to go. I mean, I'm not going to be valuable at a club. That much I know. Nobody at a club would even pay attention to me. And I'm good with that. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm very much happy.
You know, one time I went to a club and some guy I was sitting came to me and said, Ufuna Aguna Semina this weekend.
I probably would have asked the same thing. Like, what are you doing here? So
you're saying, as a person that is building, be intentional about understanding what your relevance is.
Yes.
But how do you craft that relevance? So, for instance, you said the club can miss you, right?
Yes.
But you want to be able to be invited to a fashion show. How do you build yourself to be that person that when they are crafting the invitations for the people to invite, they're like, don't forget to Jacinta.
Yeah. I feel like...
Because you can't want to be there.
We live in a world where we are exposed to so much. Where as seeing Michael Jackson, for example, would have been like, oh my God, it's Michael Jackson, and probably would have fainted. I feel like all of us now have access to people, whether it's through their Instagram, social media, whatever. You know, you always have to position yourself with the right people. Knock at the door some way or another. Luckily for me, radio has given me that platform, of which I started by volunteering. Mind you, it didn't just happen for me. It just didn't just like wake up in the morning, I'm on radio. I worked to be on radio. Now I've got the platform. How am I using the platform to get to where I'm going? Yeah. Right? That is when I made a decision for myself, because these are the type of people that I want to have access to. You know, where you know you can pick up the phone and call so-and-so. You know, where you know, I mean, I've hung around some of the richest people in the world. You know, well, not in the world in Nehab, but in South Africa, you know.
Well, if they're the richest in South Africa, they're probably the richest in the world.
Somewhere, go hundreds or 200s in bar. But I mean, the point of it all is that I feel like me being in close proximity with them kept my dreams alive. You know, sometimes it was not even about them giving me anything, but the fact that I can call so-and-so and ask for something and they know who I am, you know, for me, that is a big deal. You know, it means that even if, you know, I just made a call last week. You just reminded me to someone who is very wealthy, but very undercover, you know, and this lady is a businesswoman. And I called her and she was so excited to get my call. I can't explain how that felt, you know, because what I was asking her was business related. Yes. But she was excited to get a call from me because why haven't you called me in so long? And blah, blah, oh no, definitely I'll do that. That was so easy, you know? And I feel like that's the type of life that I want to have. I want an easy life that can help me get to my goals or can help my children with whatever goals they have. Because remember, at the end of the day, I have goals. My goals might not be aligned to what my children's goals are, but the networks that I've created could help them in creating whatever dreams they have for themselves.
So earlier on, you said something about not believing that things are haphazard. Meaning,
I don't believe in coincidence.
Oh, you don't believe in coincidence. Yes, that's exactly what you said. And then it prompted a question based on the conversation I was having with a colleague. Right? I asked the colleague that, do you think that things are predestined or things are predestined according to the decisions that we make? Right? So meaning if I take left, something will unfold. If I take right, another thing will unfold. Or it's just predestined. This is who you're going to be. Finish and clear.
It's so funny you ask me that because I've thought about this question 50,000 times in my life. Sometimes I'll get another answer. Then sometimes I'll be like, no, this is the right answer. This one is not the right answer. But it's a very interesting take on life. And I feel the one answer that I always go back to is that if my destiny was just going to be straight, then God would have not given me the power of choice. The power of choice tells you that you can either be here where I want you to be and where you're destined to be, or you can be here where you choose to go in your own direction. The difficult part, though, is that we're all not sure right? You're just navigating through life. And that is why I believe a human being is a spiritual being in all means necessary. Your spiritual life is the one thing that'll strengthen your choices. And your choices will always take you to your destiny if you listen and if you do what you're supposed to do. That's what I believe in. I am a strong believer in spirituality, whether you believe in ancestors or whether you believe in God or Ushemba, whatever. I really think people's choices are people's choices. I don't like people telling them, there's only Jesus. I'm Christian, but I don't believe God wanted us to just be Christian.
That's interesting. Why not?
Because God is divine. God could have wanted five different...
multifaceted.
Yeah, that's God. He could have wanted 5 different religions, but all of them lead to him.
Okay.
Because, think about it. Why would God give us choice and then force us to have one religion? He gave you choice, He said choose.
Yeah.
Then he says there's only one religion.
Well, there you can either choose to follow it or not to follow it. You can choose it.
And if you're not following it, wait. Because remember, I'm not talking about Satan and God here. I'm talking about God. Yes. Where God says, I want whatever choices you make to lead to me. Right? The end goal or the end divinity is God. Satanism, that's a whole crossover. About religions that lead you to God.
Correct, yes.
That's why I feel like people must just be led to be, as long as they have a relationship with God. And sometimes I feel like we hide so much behind religion that it takes away from who we really are, because we end up being people who are heartless or whatever because we go to church. And then you feel like that absolves you from anything. I don't think God even cares much about going to church over you being a good person.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
That I can say? God is not a Christian.
That's up to you to believe. I'm a Christian.
even Jesus was not a Christian. When you read the Bible, he was not a Christian. The first Christians came after he descended.
Yes, the Roman Catholic Church.
Even they were not Christian. They were told by other people that they're Christian.
Listen, I'm not here. I can find a loophole in every single religion. That much I know. Every single religion has its own loopholes and its own...
No, I'm not saying it's wrong to be Christian.
No, I hear you.
It's
but
right.
I'm saying, the fact that it has a human element means there'll be a fault.
Yes.
At the end of the day, the only core of religion and what we are doing is to get to God.
Yeah.
So we'll do it wrong. We'll definitely do it wrong.
So we'll
make wrong choices.
Yeah.
But if your heart is pure and if your intention is to get to Christ, He will always direct you to Christ. Okay,
so,
well, God.
To God or to Christ, right? So, but how does somebody who is struggling with understanding their calling, understanding their purpose, understanding their gift, then tune into that spirit that you're talking about, right? To say, I'm in my calling and I'm using my calling to serve God and to serve God's other children.
Yeah.
Now we're talking purpose now. Because, I don't think making money is so easy. I don't think it's linked to any purpose anyway. It's just making money is simple. If you understand the principles of making money, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, it doesn't matter. You'll make money.
True.
As long as you follow the principles. And then there comes fulfillment, purpose, living a life that impacts other people, which becomes a totally different story.
Yeah.
We know a lot of people that have a lot of money, but they're unfulfilled.
Yeah. Because it's what I'm talking about when I talk about spirituality. Spirituality is an individual thing. I'll keep saying this. It's not about the church that I go to. It's not about me standing in front of people and screaming out God's name. At the end of the day, when I'm with God and it's just the two of us, we all know. Then there's an emotional side of a human being, right? Now, the one example I always use is that as people, we always say, I love you with all my heart, right? And when you went, if you did biology, you'll know that
I failed, man.
Askis, let me teach you then a bit of biology. In biology, the core function of the heart is to pump blood. That's it. The heart has no feelings at all. Feelings are in your head. They start from the side of your brain that controls your emotions.
Yeah.
So you've got two sides of your brain, the emotional side and the other side that will control your intelligence, your whatever, either your ability to reason. Then there's another side that'll allow you to see with your eyes and so forth, right? So if you think about it, when you talk about emotions, you talk about a heart, but it's really a head because it's a choice. Goes back to what I'm saying. Your brain has two sides. Both of them are used to make a choice, right? Sometimes your emotional side will overpower your rational side. That's why people end up with depression, stress, blah, 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 because the emotional side sometimes cannot handle everything that's going on. And you need amaphilisi to balance out Leo emotion that's going on. And then it has to balance it and lean more towards the rational side of things.
So I've heard guys say, I don't believe in depression. They would say that. I don't believe in depression because why would I give my power away? So if I say I believe in this thing, it means I'm saying I don't have control over what's happening. So if I'm going through it, I would rather go through it. I won't take any pills. What's your take on that? Are they right according to how they're applying their two brains?
True. It's their strength, emotionally and spiritually. Because depression and anxiety is both emotional and spiritual. Some people have anxiety and depression based on whatever traumas that they went through in their lives and didn't deal with them. So like I said, the brain will suppress that. It's the brain that's doing that, right? They have such a strong rational side of their brain that it's able to block away all those emotional anger, hurt, pain, and they're able to reason. Even if then I'm like this. But you must realize that's why they always say most of us need to go for counseling because Leonto might come back one day. You never know. Something could trigger it in my brain. The brain is a very, very, very crucial thing in all of us. It's probably the most important organ we've got. And it's important to take care of it. And it's important to try and understand that my brain is not your brain. Yabo, how you think is not how I think. What you're going through in your head is not what I'm going through. That's why it can't be easy for you to say, hi, lawyer Tefa, I get depression, I get anxiety, blah, 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 blah. Because remember, even children who hang themselves or commit suicide of some form go through those mental challenges that are combined with spiritual challenges. Because most of the time, they'll always tell you, something in me said, Veluhambo hang. Yabo? That's the other side of the brain that's overpowering them. So we need to take these mental health issues very seriously because they're very serious and we should not take them for granted. The things we say have an impact on people. The things we do have an impact on people, which is what I'm going to steal and sneak in quickly. Yeah. That people have become such bullies now. You know, people bully people with words because the internet has created that hub, that safe haven for people to just be cruel to other people. And you don't know what role you're contributing into a person's mental health. And you could be destroying that person bit by bit, you know, and people take this for granted because they think, vele she's in public or vele he's in public. It doesn't kill to be nice, you know. You can make a comment about whatever it is that you have an opinion on, but just try and keep it clean, keep it nice, because there's a person at the end of the day, a person with feelings and a brain.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, because especially if you are in the public eye, it's as if you must be willing to take it. You must
be Rambo.
You must be Rambo and be staring and just take it. So I've got a question that I want to ask you on the Rado watch that you had worn, right?
Yes.
And it's triggered by what you just explained in terms of the right side of your brain, which is rational, and the emotional side of your brain, which is on the left, wherever.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. So what the rational or the emotional side, you go on to this competition or you get selected in an Oprah Winfrey. Is it show?
No, it was a
event.
Women's event, yeah.
Women's empowerment event.
Yeah.
You win this. The rational side is saying, it's a beautiful watch. Keep it for yourself. And you decide, as young as you were, I don't know how old you were at the time.
I was 23.
23?
Yeah.
At 23, a Rado watch is very nice for a 23-year-old.
I know, right?
You decide that you are going to run an auction for this. And when it's bought, you're giving that money to charity.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? And it speaks to also building yourself up as a brand, publicly and intentionally. Was it a PR stunt?
At 23.
23-year-olds are smart, right? Was it a PR stunt or you really wanted to do that?
Yeah.
Which ultimately became PR, right? So we're all doing PR, intentionally or unintentionally.
Well, to be honest, at that time...
a billionaire bought the watch.
Yeah.
You couldn't have
Very
known a
rich
billionaire is
man.
going to buy it.
Right?
But had you not done it,
Yeah.
a billionaire wouldn't have bought it. Eventually, one day, the billionaire gave you 1 million rand to start a business.
Well, that was just 1 million. But in the other 4 years, he gave me about 500,000. So he consistently funded this project. So
he gave you 1 million
in total,
to start?
probably like about 3 million or so that is invested in the project or so. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways.
All because of a watch you gave away.
Yes. So at the time, remember, I'm just a young person who just loves radio here. I don't understand the intricacies of the media and whatever. And at the time, Mina, I'm not in the media space. Angiko at the forefront of the show. I'm behind the scenes. I'm the producer of one of the biggest breakfast shows in the land, which was the Alex and the Crew. So I'm not doing this because I'm known. Nobody knows me, you know. At the time, I'm just doing it because that's what I wanted to see.
And social media is not famous.
No, there's no social media.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big. So what happened is, I think it's the kind of home that I grew up in once again. My granny was a giver by nature. Ekhaya nje, there was always, there's always people getting lost. They never had food. They, like, never. All the time, there was someone that we had to give food to, who was a stranger, you know. And I know they moved from Eshowe to come live Kwamashu. So all the people always landed up at home. And we always used to sleep on the floor because, you know. So I think that's the kind of person that I thought at the time I'm meant to be. And I think it just became who I am. Yeah.
So that's the reason for the watch.
The watch, angithi mina khumbula angikhulanga with all these luxuries vele.
Awuyazi nokuthi luxury at the time.
Rado ngilokho ngitshelwa nje ukuthi this watch is a big deal. But manje ngahlala nalo for like the longest time because I didn't immediately go on auction. Mhlawumbe I had it for like 2 months before I could decide what am I going to do with this.
Were you still staying Kwamash?
Yes.
You were taking a run to Kwamash. So when I sat there, like, for 2 months, I'm like, Lento is just like a waste of my time. Like, what am I sitting here doing with this watch? Because you couldn't wear it.
I've never worn it, ever.
Were you scared?
You know the box, right?
Yeah.
The box was like something I'd never seen in my life. It was so fancy. It was huge. You had to open it and then open it again. And then, you know. So for me, I just would be fascinated in opening the box, opening it and opening it. But then because I'm like, honestly, maybe I should sell it. I'm like, you know. And then there was this charity that I really had gotten to work with and know. So I'd see some of the things the kids were going through at the time, and I just thought, okay, I'll sell it, and then home. And then after a while, I was like, okay, maybe we can incorporate this into, because we were discussing the show, Alex. I'm like, okay, we haven't done anything wow in a while. I'm like, yeah, I've got a watch at home. maybe we can give it away. Because that's what I said at first. Like, maybe we can just give it away. And then maybe that would be. And it's like, no, why don't we just sit down? Auction would be the way to go. And that's how it came about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I have another question.
Yes.
Do you think you felt as though you did not deserve to have the watch? Because there's this thing about Black people. Sometimes they treat themselves as if they don't deserve wealth and they don't deserve nice things. Where you're at a point where you felt like, just feel like you don't deserve it. I mean, I know guys, right? One friend of mine was making a lot of money, like a lot of money. But he never had money. He always gave it away.
Yeah.
Because growing up, his mother used to tell him that rich people are bad. So when he became rich, he just felt like he's a bad person. So he just unintentionally just gave away everything all the time.
Yeah. I feel like I still have a bit of a problem when it comes to that. It's actually making me anxious. Because I feel like I don't know how to celebrate myself, how to just spoil myself. I don't know how I speak about spoiling myself, but I think my husband has to do that for me to actually appreciate it. But I won't go out of my way and say, yo, I'm going to do this because, I need it. I am the girl that I think I am. I really struggle with that. I really struggle about just being about me, And sometimes it does affect me and it does affect my children. I think some people have noticed it because now I kind of had to delete my inbox because like all the time, especially after payday,
payday?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd get tons of inboxes.
Yeah,
dude, even now I can open my Facebook for you. You'll see there's messages and trust, I'm going to send people money. Trust. And it's gone to a point where I think the only reason it hurts me now is because I realize that people at the end of the day, like people are ungrateful. You can go out of your way and do things for people. People will still find a way to make you a bad person. They'll still find a way to say, and I think this really hurts me. I think that's the one thing that emotionally affects me, because, okay, sorry, I need to calm down. I think like, I if I could tell you the things I've done for people, some of which people don't even know, like it would just be between me and the person in my inbox. And, that same person going to speak badly about you. Do you know how much that hurts? It's not because I expect you to speak highly of me, but just don't say anything, Don't participate when people are trashing me, when you know what I've done for you, So that hurts.
No, I understand, especially if, like what you're saying, don't participate. You know the truth. You're the very same person that comes to ask. But isn't it the reason why you see a lot of successful Black people don't go back into their communities and assist for the very same reason? Because anything that happens online, it's a reflection of who we are. It's not like Slalagu Facebook.
Yeah.
The person who's trashing you is sitting on a couch somewhere.
Yes.
So it's who they are.
Yeah. I think I for the longest time, I didn't understand why they can't help. But now sometimes I find myself that I do. But then also, you can't change who you are. I can't pretend not to care. I've tried several times, but someone will come and say, oh, my daughter was raped. I mean, I get the most horrific stories in my inbox. Things that will make you just want to go to sleep, because they're so bad. But you can't just ignore that because you feel like you're doing something wrong, It's not only about money, for example. It's not only money that people approach me for. It's everything that you can think of. Every single thing. My house is being repossessed. My boyfriend is beating me up. My children don't have a school next year. I don't have an ID. Everything. My husband is cheating on me. Please give me advice. And for the past couple of months, I feel like I've been letting people down because emotionally angikho lapho. I can't even give them some of what I used to give them before, where before I could be able to say, okay, if your husband is cheating, okay, what do you want to say? Do you want to talk? I get tons of messages. I just want to talk. You know what I mean? And it's not because I don't want to help. It's just that kwamina ngikho in a place where I feel like I want to help people because people can do so bad, so wrong. You know what I mean? And I don't want them to change who I am. So I'm trying to work my way back to being able to block them out. But the thing about us as Black people is if something good happens for a person, they will hop on that. You're on a very reason that they'll use for your downfall. So recently I got married.
Yeah, beautiful wedding, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Siyabonga Sibali.
Thank you. And I come to find that for the longest time, I never even shared that I have a partner. So people assumed I was single until the time I ngalotsholake. And then the umshado washesha. So I think people still expected me to be like a fiance for the longest time. And then I got married. And now every single negative thing that people want to say about me is centered around my marriage. You know, it's no longer about Jacinta Law who has an opinion about everything. Law, hi, when you're here because you're unhappy. But my gosh, so what must change now? I'm married. So
you're here on social media?
On social media.
Because you're unhappy?
Yes. Oh, you're on social media because you must keep quiet. You're married. You can't say anything now, you know? So I think I have a problem with Black people in general. The way that we carry ourselves, the way that we treat each other, the way that we are so not futuristic. Black people live mostly for today. As long as ngikruve namhlanje.
We even say school is not important.
Yes, as long as ngikruve namhlanje, as long as ngihlala nomngane wami namhlanje, as long as ngithuka inhlamba namhlanje on social media, what happens tomorrow? So bona mase kufike tomorrow. You know? And they don't think, okay, what if one day this person engimthukayo could potentially be my boss? They don't.
I don't think that far.
No, they don't. They don't. The only thing Black people think about is what they're feeling at that time. We are eager. We are dinner. You don't question that. In a spiritual side of things, why would I dislike someone that's never done anything to me?
I've never met them.
Because we live in a spiritual world. We live in a very spiritual world, and some of the things that we think and that are going on in our heads are not supposed to be things that are in our head, vele. Zifia ngama spirits. And when you feed into those spirits, you are directing your path in the wrong way. So I'm going to focus so much on trash talking celebrities and who I don't like, on this gossip that's going on. I don't realize how little time I'm spending on myself and my own goals and my own children and my own wellness. Mhlambe lesikhathi spend nje ubhala kabi ngo Jacinta or whoever. That time is 2 minutes that you can just give to your child. Just hug them, tell them you love them. And ngingamyekisa leyo nto ukuthi aphume phandle eyolala nomfana. Ingane zethu amantombazane, we love saying ukuthi ziuvanzi. They just don't have parents.
Because parents are here.
They're on social media. They're going clubbing. They're busy trash talking everyone in the world. They don't like you when you're successful. People don't like you when you succeed. Suddenly, everything that you do is wrong. Yeah, but you know when Ulebo was saying that she doesn't want to brag about her success because people say, why is that a thing? Because we've culturalized it and made it who we are.
And built fear around
exactly. It. Don't brag about your people, don't whatever, because they know who they are. They know that if I have a shop here, ngizofaka ingane Muhammad, ngifaka ingane Ismail, ngifaka ingane Sbanbani, and they're going to come and we're going to build an empire because that's where their focus is. Ngiyawufica amaSulman is sitting on social media, trash talking each other every day. Ngeke.
What is it with this culture? Because instead of us building stuff that's moving all of us forward, we spend so much time arguing.
It's a spiritual demon called jealousy. We don't believe that if something good must happen, it must happen to me. It can't happen to witness. Because if it happens to witness says even if none of those things exist, I'm going to create them.
Mina ngiyayitshela vele.
That's what I mean. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it needs a cleansing of sort. You know,
Is it
something
not mental, but you said spiritual.
No,
so
it's spiritual.
affects-
It's definitely spiritual. This thing is not normal. It's not normal. It's not normal for people to not want to celebrate each other like this. It's not. We can't even celebrate a graduate. Certificate.
Ish.
What is that? How do you, at someone's peak, you want to tell them, Oksala, you're going to fall down? We are invested in bringing each other down. It's a life. Some people live to see other people go through pain and misery and downfall. It's the only thing they've got going for them. It's that spirit that they have inside them that says, if Usman Banengeko happy, we lauzuba rights corn. But they don't realize they're never happy. Those people are never happy. Never. Never, ever, ever happy.
So even the person's downfall does not help them elevate.
It's temporary satisfaction. Temporary. Angithi masengiqedile ukujabulela ukuthi Jacinta is not doing well. Oh no, her life is going downhill. I still have to go back to my own life.
True.
At the end of the day, my reality remains my reality. Ilento iqala even ngisho ngekho social media, even omakhelwane. You know, sometimes these things are the apartheid izona izibuye zikuphathe kabi ukuthi, you know, during apartheid there was so much unity. There was so, now sekukhona ukuthi ingane yasibanibani meke yathole opportunity engcono kuneyami. But in apartheid angisasifana sonke. You were just black. That's all you knew about.
And
you were
you're
just
not
a
allowed
black
to
person.
extend your 4-room.
That's all.
Do you know that?
Yeah.
You're not, or you could change windows, but you couldn't extend.
But at the end of the day, sasijabulisa ukuthi siyalingana, siyafana. That was the one thing that kept us happy as black. Think about it. The one thing that kept black people happy and united was knowing that siyafana.
Manje siyabuya lo mzonda uyothenga iPorsche.
Exactly.
Inhliziyo yakhe ibe buhlungu. Aphinde ayothenga iLamborghini.
Yes. Yes.
So they don't want that.
They don't want that. Because it's a reflection of my own failures, which is the problem that people make. If someone else succeeds, it's not a reflection of me failing. It's their success. Mina nginendlela yami uNkulunkulu angibekele yona.
But do they understand that part?
No.
You see, Mhlambe, maybe as we draw to a close, explain that part of one having their own path that is distinct and designed for them.
I think even if you preach it at the top of Moses Mabhida Stadium, they still won't get it. Because umuntu enhlizweni yakhe, and I always say this, unalo muntu kind of like that they're fixated with in making sure ukuthi mhlawumbe akabe ngcono kunaye akamhlule whatever. If you ever feel that, it's a spiritual attack. I say this all the time. Remove yourself from this person. Remove yourself completely. If it means unfollowing them, unfollow them. If it means not being in their company, don't. And fix yourself. Work on yourself. On why am I feeling like this? Why does this person intimidate me? Why does their presence make me feel like I'm less of who I am? And then find your path into, okay, okay, I'm not happy ukuthi unemoto, mina I've prayed for a car 50 times wanganginika. And that's the core of the problem, right?
Yeah.
Ukuthi spiritually you're unhappy. Unale gap ona enhlizweni yakho. Because you've prayed to God, wacela lento ubona ukuthi akunikezi. Right? Then you project that failure to someone who has a car or just bought a car. That is where the jealousy will come from. Now, until you are fine, until you are okay, congratulate that person and take your time out to deal with yourself. Because you'll forever bleed on this person because of your own failures that you feel. And sometimes it's not even God, it's you. who has not done what you needed to do in your path or journey through life to get you that 3. But you spent so much time focusing on the next person and didn't focus on yourself and your God that you ended up not getting what you're supposed to get.
Sure.
So that's our biggest problem as people, is that we allow spiritual negativity to take over who we are and our journey. And there's nothing more pain. I mean, I always have a vision of me getting to heaven and God saying, this is what I had in store for you. This is what I had in store for you. This is what I had in store for you. But you decided to go see, you're going to be jealous of so-and-so and spend your focus on them and not me and what I had in store for you. I don't want to know that I missed out on God and the opportunities that he had for me and the potential that I possessed because I spent so much of my time focusing on someone else.
Jeez. So last comment from me, right? And you can close. You know what I've observed? You find Umutu will rather be happy if their brother is earning 7,000 and they're earning 10,000. They're happy. But if they're earning 70,000 and their brother is earning 100,000, they will be unhappy. They would rather be in a position where they're earning 10.
Yeah.
And their brother is earning 7. Because why? I'm doing better than him. But you're earning 10, bruh. You could be earning 70. Then you're both doing well. The fact that he's earning 100 doesn't necessarily mean anything because now you're earning more than the 10. And based on what you said, how can people break free from those mental shackles?
But I think what you're saying goes back to everything that I've said about us as a Black community in general. We have allowed ourselves to get here. The mere fact that you can tell me that someone can be jealous of their own brother is a problem. How are you jealous of your own brother? But this is a common thing now in families. Families don't talk to each other. An aunt who had money but their children didn't succeed now hates the ones that are getting better. Because you are not supposed to be the ones, me and my children are supposed to be the ones that shine. But the fact that it happened shows the divinity of God. And they become something. So that's why even with your children, you have to treat them the same because lo might be a success, might not be. And they carry the others towards their goals as well. But that can only happen if they are united. The one thing that has broken us is unity has been broken in our families, in our communities, in everything that you do. Why do you think we've got so many foreigners in our country taking over everything and calling us lazy? They're calling us lazy in our own country. People come from, I was actually laughing, someone posted a picture of some of the distance between Pakistan and South Africa. And this person says, imagine traveling all the way that distance to open a tuck shop. You move from Pakistan to open a tuck shop in South Africa. And South Africans they don't even realize what that means about them as people. We are focused on the wrong things. We will lose everything. Foreigners will take over this country. They will take over everything. They'll take over our children. They take over our careers and everything while we do what? While we drink and party and smoke and hate each other. If you have no reason to hate someone, don't hate them. It's that simple. You can't just walk around hating people because they exist. There's millions of people in the world who's all funny. Focus on yourself, on your goal, on your purpose. And what you are here to do. We are all not here to be Petrus Mutsepe. That's him. That's what God wants him to be. That's his goal in life. If I want to succeed in business, I'm succeeding in business because of what I have set out for myself, my children, and my future. It has nothing to do with everyone else on the side, but me and God. That's it.
Wow. Everyone is so deep. I don't want this to end, but unfortunately, everybody's looking at me like, sure, are you really going to stop this conversation? Do you have any last words that you'd like to to speak. Any last remarks?
There's I speak for a living. Like I spend 3 hours on radio, so I speak. But just like in closing, as human beings, the choices that we make are very important. From the time we're teenagers to the time we're adults, and we might be sitting here thinking, oh, I've made some very bad choices in life. And you think, oh, there's no way of fixing them. The fact that you still have air in your lungs, you can still breathe, God has given you another day, it means it's always an ability to redo things, especially if you're not happy with the way that you've done them. You can sit here in the podcast today and you can take whatever that you're taking and decide, because that's why sometimes I don't believe kakul in motivation, because motivation is a two-way thing. I can sit and speak, but the person who's receiving it, there's a block. Then who's motivated? Like there's no motivation there. Motivation only works when the person who is on the other end receives what I'm saying, uses it and applies it. That is what motivation does, right? So we can sit here all day and talk and think, oh, we're imparting knowledge, and people are like, yes. 5 minutes later, they've forgotten everything. They can. But
we bind that spirit in Jesus' name.
But at least there's a podcast. You can always go and refresh. So everything starts and ends with the person. Everything on this planet starts and ends with you. How you feel starts with you. How you behave starts with you. The people around you starts with you. Your future starts with you. And you've got choices to make for a reason. If you're making the wrong choices in life, you've always got a chance to redo the mistakes that you've made. But also in that same breath, it doesn't mean, Wuti, you must separate yourself from the spiritual side of yourself. There's nothing worse than someone going through a phase in life, because I always say life is about balance. It's not about a person being too good and a person being too bad, or a person it's just about finding bits and pieces of everything that life has to offer, putting them together and making them work for you. The mistakes, some of them are there for a reason. They're meant to build you. So take that bit of your life and do what you must with it. Take the bit of your life where there's happy moments. Do what you must with it. Because life is like that. There are even problems that we have that we didn't ask for, but we have them. But if you live a balanced life and it's okay, right now life is going down, it will go up. Because life is going down for the rest of their lives. Life will go up, it will go down. And if you live a balanced life, you'll know how to balance times when it's difficult and times when it's easy. As long as you have the right mindset, as long as you keep your spirit clean, as long as you keep yourself in a good place, then I think there's nothing that you can't overcome. Because as a person, we need to call ourselves to ourselves sometimes. Because not we hurt other people the same way they hurt us. Not we do bad to other people. It's not about you going there and continuing and saying, it's about you calling yourself towards yourself. Like I said, balance your life. Know when to apologize. Know when to say thank you. Know when to say please. That's a balanced life. That's a life that has everything in it, good and bad, but knowing when the good must affect the bad and when you can take the bad to learn so that it becomes a good, and you can live a life that has ups and downs, but you'll still manage and sail through it because emotionally and spiritually, you're well put together.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For unpacking all of that and for pouring your heart out. I can see and feel the passion that you have for people, the passion that you have for the Black community, and may God see it, and help heal our people.
True.
All of us, we in one way or another,
True.
we need healing, so may God grant us that prayer and heal all of us.
Absolutely.
And from me and everybody that's here and everybody that's watching, I want to extend our thanks to you and your husband for being here, for making time and impacting the community of It's More Than Just Money. Let's give it a round of applause.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm sure you used to interviewing people. So
right?
now today you are being
weird.
interviewed. I'm sure it was weird. You were tempted to do the interviewing.
But on radio, I'm sure they would have been like, yeah, you guys have spoken too much. Music.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And if you're watching online, please comment. Let us know which part of the conversation resonates with you. Or is that my camera? Sorry, guys. Sometimes I look at different cameras. So if you are watching online, thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please click on the subscribe button, click on the notifications bell so that you don't miss any of our conversations. Yeah, now we bring powerhouses, you know. We bring people who know exactly what they're talking about and who do have a desire to share and impact lives. So share this with as many people as you can so that their lives can be impacted. From my team and I, broadcasting from Durban, South Africa, It's More Than Just Money. See you in the next episode. Ciao.